Hello everyone, this is Trey again from 3D Print and Paint Figures, and today I'm going to make a quick video about how I go into Blender and I slice a STL file in half and key it and make it smaller pretty much so I can print it off in two pieces instead of one. I found this really cool 3D model of Mitsuri from Demon Slayer. It's cyberpunk Mitsuri. It's pretty cool, where she's on a motorcycle. But yeah, this video is all about opening the one piece of the motorcycle. The bottom part was too big to fit on my build plate for my 3D printer, so I have to cut it in half and key it so that I can fit it on the build plate. So I just want to make a quick video about how I do that in Blender. It's actually pretty simple in Blender with how to do this. First, you put your object out, you make a plane, you put the plane through the object where you want to slice in half pretty much. Then at the top right, there's an edit menu that has a Boolean operator in it. And you use that Boolean has a slice function. It has an auto slice and it has like a brush slice. But you want to use the auto slice. And then you just hit slice and it'll pretty much slice your image perfectly in half into two pieces. Then you'll see when you get the two pieces, then you gotta, if you want to create, you don't have to create a keyhole if you don't want to, if you want to try to put it together. But I've tried slicing things in half and I've printed it off before and tried thinking I could, set them together perfectly. And without keyholes, it's actually really hard to do. There's always a line and it never lines up perfectly. But because right now I'm rotating it to make sure it's perfectly, not perfectly level, but as close as you can get it to having two pieces that are they're the same size. Because if you cut something 50-50, then it fits on there better than if you slice it and you're not perfectly in half with it. So I just try as well as I can to get it perfectly straight down the middle, so I know that the 3D print is gonna fit on the build plate. This 3D print was pretty close to fitting, but it just didn't fit. The sides, maybe 10% on each side hung off, and I didn't want to have to shrink the entire model down just for this one piece. So I'll just go into Blender, cut it in half, and then key it. So right now, see right there's the slice menu, or it's the Boolean menu, but I hit the slice. Right now the computer is just computing the slice to cut it in two. Oh, then it's done. So now it slices that into two pieces for me. And I'll hide one of them. Then you go up to mesh and you add a mesh cube in. And you want to add that cube, put it right in the center where you want it, you move it where you want it to go. Once you get the cube where you got it, and you alter the size. I like to alter the size to make sure that it is big enough, and this is a really big piece, so really the size of this can be huge if you wanted it to. The bigger it is, the easier it is to fit in, the more there is to deal with, or the easier it is to deal with. So pretty much I get it the exact size I want it, then I'll copy and paste it. I'll just hit Control C, Control V to paste another one on top of it. Then I'll hide one of them. Right now I am hiding the one that I don't want hidden. I just copied and pasted it and I hit it. And now you do a union. The one piece that's still there, you hide the two pieces that are hidden, you leave them hidden, and then you use union to join the two. Now you pick the other half and you want to do a difference. So you select this guy, you'll see me size it. I want to make this, because since this is going to be the hole, I want this to be a little bit bigger. And you can see the size over there it was like 16, or it was 17.5 millimeters. So I'll make it about 2 millimeters bigger. 2 millimeter gap is good enough to fit a key in, where it'll fit nice and it won't be so big that it doesn't, there's too much wiggle room, but it also won't be so small that it doesn't fit. You really don't want to do them the exact same size, because with the variations in 3D printing, it won't fit. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just adjusting, trying to get the size perfectly right without moving it. Then you do a difference. In the same Boolean, the edit Boolean menu, you select the cube, then you select the object, and then you hit difference, and it cuts the hole out for you. Then I'll unhide the other one and I'll move them a little bit to make sure that it looks like, I'll try to zoom in as good as I can, a quick view, just to make sure it looks like the keyhole's going to fit. Sometimes you'll do this and you'll look and you'll be like, oops, I forgot I moved the cube a little bit where the keyhole's not perfectly in there. So that's just what this is. I'm just checking and make sure it looks like it'll fit. There's a little gap there. There's a gap on this side. Yep, that should fit pretty good. So now, to export it to, I don't know if there's probably a way better way to do this, but when I export it, I actually delete half of it, and then I export to STL. Then I will undo that delete, then I delete the other side, and then I export the other side, so it exports them both in two separate pieces. and I'll save them as STLs. And then after I'm done doing this, I also, to make sure that I think the sizes are the same, I'm going to go open them up in Cheeto Box or Lychee Slicer, whichever slice you use. I usually use Cheeto Box just because I'm more used to it, but I've used Lychee Slicer too. They both do a good job. But after I export them, I save them as 1 and 2. Sometimes I'll save them as like male and female, just so I know which one plugs into the other one, if I think it's important, or if I think the, because like, you know, if you have a male piece that sticks out, that one might need to be a little bit smaller cut than the other one, because the piece sticking out might not fit on the build plate. But these are, I just named them 1 and 2. I'll grab both of these, open them up, and I'll open up the original all in Cheeto Box and kind of put them on top of each other and make sure they look like they're the exact same size. Because you don't want to like do all this and you change the size of them inside Blender, and then when you exported them, they're a different size. So just to make sure I compare them, I put the original in here, and I put the 2 pieces I cut in here, and I kind of move them on top of each other and look like, yeah, they look like they're, just to make sure they look like they're the exact same size and they'll fit together. Like, yeah, I put it on top of there, and I'm like, yeah, it looks like it's the same size and it should fit. I look at the kickstand. It was the easy good part to view. If I flip it around, look at the kickstand, because that's just like the little thing that sticks off the bottom. I'm like, okay, I can put those right on top of each other. Yeah, they're like the exact same length and size. I was like, yep, they're the same size. So I delete that guy, and I was like, since I already have these in Cheeto Box in here, I might as well just get this one ready to print it. Hollow it, put holes in it, stick some holes in it, rotate it about right, support it up, and then slice it. That's what I'm doing now. I'm making sure that the halves do fit on the build plate. I probably should have done the male half first, just because there is an extra little bit that sticks out. But you can tell how thin it is, that the male side's going to fit too. So definitely want to do that. After I'm done doing this one, I'm going to do the male one just to make sure, because it does look like it might be close. I also wanted the bottom down, the bottom of the bike. I'm pretty sure that's where the foot goes. So that's why that's why I turned it around to the bottom. Like, see, that half it fits with the full thing, definitely would not have fit on this build plate. So I hollowed 1.5. I've tried different thicknesses and thinnesses of walls, and I was like that. These look like real thin walls, but it saves me a lot of resin. I can get way more prints off a lot cooler things if I can leave 1.5 millimeter thick walls. Now, when holes, I was like, I'm gonna make these holes a little bigger. I'm gonna make the holes about 2 millimeters. Then I just start punching holes all over the place. The more holes you can have in it, if it's a hollow print, the better. As long as they're not obstructing the visuals. You know, like I have this whole flat side to deal with, so I was like, man, I can just stick holes all over this thing. It'll be fine. I have my auto support set to where I just click auto every time. Sometimes the auto supports fail, and I'll go back and redo them. A lot of times if my prints fail, it's not the supports that did it. It's like my vat had dirty or had floaters in it or something. I'll have a lot of fail because I'll try to use the same resin over and over and over again, and eventually it'll fail. Then I'll clean the vat out, get it all out, get alcohol and clean the FEP off, and then reprint it, and it usually works fine. These auto supports have almost always worked for me. Very rarely will the auto supports not work. But that's about it. Thank you guys for watching, and if you have any more questions or anything you want me to do, or any suggestions or anything, let me know. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. It helps me out a lot. Subscribers would be awesome.